The Mongol baby judges say must live has had a successful operation. The 11-day-old Mongol girl is tonight said to be satisfactory after surgeons carried out an operation for an intestinal obstruction. She was moved earlier today from Queen Charlotte's Hospital in West London to Hammersmith Hospital. Yesterday, 2 appeal judges overruled her parents' decision to allow her to die. And tonight, Hammersmith and Fulham Council, who have her in their care, said unless they had a change of heart and satisfied them that they wanted her back, the baby would go to a nursery and later would either be adopted or fostered. Gerald Butt reports.
The baby, who still hasn't been given a name, was born in Queen Charlotte's 11 days ago. This morning she was taken by ambulance a mile or so up the road to the Hammersmith Hospital. There she underwent a number of tests to see if she was strong enough before being taken into the theatre. The operation was described in advance as being fairly big, but it's one commonly performed on Mongol babies. It lasted just under 2 hours. In a brief statement this evening, the hospital said that the operation had been completed satisfactorily. The purpose had been to locate a blockage in the intestines and to bypass it. That had been achieved. Now the statement goes on, there's no reason to believe that the child will not have the life expectancy typical of any Mongol. The baby's mother wasn't at the hospital, but she was in London and in touch.
I spoke to the baby's mother this morning. At that stage, the baby was still at Queen Charlotte's Hospital. The baby was then transferred here, and really I spoke to the mother merely just to determine where the baby was, to let her know where the baby was. Since then, the consultant in charge of the case has spoken to the mother, and the mother has said that she wishes the operation to be a success.
Care of the baby is now in the hands of Hammersmith and Fulham Council. They were legally bound to ask for care under laws protecting children. They say they had to act in the baby's interest.
In practice, of course, we did, talk to the parents 3 times before making this decision. They felt unable to change their view, so it was at that stage that we had to intervene. And of course there were discussions at a senior level within the department before we took that difficult decision.
In Northern Ireland, the 9th hunger striker, Thomas McElwee, has died in the 62nd day of his fast, and within hours the H-Block's prisoners smuggled out another statement. In it, they said that in seeking changes in the prison regime, they were not trying to take control, as they said the Northern Ireland Secretary, Mr. Humphrey Atkins, claimed yesterday. Thomas McElwee died this morning. He was serving a life sentence for the manslaughter of a young woman. His death hadn't been expected, and although there were some disturbances in Belfast, reaction was relatively quiet compared with events after the deaths of the other hunger strikers. There were sporadic attacks on the security forces, but they were not large-scale. There's also been trouble in Londonderry and Strabane, but as in Belfast, it's been low-key. In Great Yarmouth, an 18-year-old youth has died from stab wounds after a fight in a public house. And in Brighton, there have been 52 arrests, mostly for minor offences, at a weekend rally of more than 3,000 mods. Now to the first pictures of the end of the attempted coup in the Gambia, a rebellion which is now reckoned to have cost 400 lives. It came to an end when Senegalese troops took the rebel stronghold at Bakau, 6 miles west of the capital of Banjul. John Spicer watched the troops round up the rebels.
Senegalese troops poured over the Denton Bridge, held by the rebels for 5 days, cutting off the capital. They sealed it and searched everyone crossing it before pressing on to the rebels' stronghold, a paramilitary barracks. I followed them and found them still flushing out the last remaining rebels. Advance units were reinforced. Many rebels had fled, those remaining captured. This pathetic band of men kept nearly half the Senegalese army at bay for nearly 2 days. They and their colleagues fought off from this base the full might of the Senegalese sent down from Dakar by land, sea and air. This is where the rebellion started a week ago, and this is where it ended. They looted the armory, but their weapons were no match for the Senegalese army, whose prisoners they now are. No one knows how strong they were, but certainly several hundred joined the rebellion. 400 of Gambia's field force, set up to maintain law and order, joined in. Interrogation began there and then. The rebel leader had slipped their net, and these soldiers had been detailed to find him. In this tiny office, the President's wife, Lady Jawara, was held hostage with 18 children. They lived in squalor without a toilet for 7 days. Soiled nappies littered the floor. Because of illness, some were taken for treatment nearby, where the SAS rescued them. Another 130 hostages, many fishermen, were released, their freedom marking the collapse of the coup.
Other news from abroad: the Soviet Marshal, who's in charge of the Warsaw Pact armed forces, has had a meeting with the Polish Prime Minister in Warsaw. An announcement by the official news agency of talks between Marshal Viktor Kulikov and Prime Minister Jaruzelski was the first indication of the Russian soldiers' presence in Poland. The visit comes at a time of large-scale Soviet maneuvers near Poland and renewed tension between the government and Solidarity. The Soviet Foreign Minister, Andrei Gromyko, has accused the Americans of destroying the military balance in southern Asia by increasing arms deliveries to Pakistan. He hinted Russia might now supply more weapons to India. President Reagan has been warned that a rat infected with bubonic plague was found near his California ranch shortly before he arrived there on holiday. Health officials say the president is taking precautions. Over 100 people have been arrested in New Zealand in new demonstrations against the South African rugby tour. The worst trouble was in Wellington, where anti-apartheid demonstrators were involved in scuffles with police. In Auckland, there was only one minor incident and the protest was largely good-humoured. A match between the Springboks and a local side in Invercargill went as planned, but it's thought the anti-tour demonstrations may become more serious when the Springboks play their first test in Wellington next Saturday. Prince Charles and the Princess of Wales have sailed away from a flotilla of small boats which surrounded them when they anchored overnight off the Greek island of Ithaca. The royal couple are thought to be heading for a quieter spot before sailing to Egypt to entertain President Sadat and his wife on board the Royal Yacht Britannia next Wednesday night. And plain sailing too for the yachts taking part in the 600-mile Fastnet race. Nearly 300 boats left Cowes this evening in good weather, and reports from coastguards along the shore indicate that conditions are staying fine. 2 years ago, the race was wrecked by severe gales and 15 sailors died. The organisers, the Royal Ocean Racing Club, has stationed escort vessels along the route to enable the yachts to keep in radio touch with the land. When the leaders of the race left the shelter of the Needles off the Isle of Wight, the Canadian boat Runaway was in front, with the British entrants lying 6th, 10th and 40th. We wish them all a safe voyage.